Takes a minute or two to kick in. All right, you start by introducing yourself.
Sure. Yeah, my name's William Chandler-Duff. I'm a professional dog trainer based in London, in the UK. Yeah, that's me.
And you do have interest in IGP dog training and IPO. I've seen that on your page. So,
Well, I've learnt from some of the best in the sport dog world.
well, that would make you an IGP trainer, no?
I don't know what you define as an IGP trainer.
IGP took over everything 20 years ago, okay? And that's what we're going to get into. IGP right now is controlling the entire dog industry through the pet care conglomerate. That's what we're going to get into. Over 20 years ago, they sold out dog owners to corporate America. And here we are with the results. Everything you know is dog training, my friend, is IGP dog training. That's the reality. And then we've got people like Ivan Balabanoff who will stick their face on camera and say point blank that only IGP trainers like me should be training dog or working with dogs and behavior. That's a very problem today. And they're using the quadrants of dog training from Conrad Most, which are primary and secondary inducements and primary, secondary, compulsive inducements. What you're calling positive punishment is actually primary compulsive inducements in Conrad Most book. But let's get into let's talk about Skinner. What do you want to know, or what do you think is going on?
I don't know. I think first of all, I want to cover what you just said about Conrad Most, and I don't believe that Conrad Most ever put his primary and secondary inducements and primary and secondary compulsive inducements into a quadrant format, and nor did Skinner, by the way. It was I don't know who the first person who it was that
I can't remember his name. His name is Raymond something.
Okay,
that was back in the 1990s.
Whoever it was really the reason why it's in a quadrants format is to simplify it for people so that people can hopefully easily understand negative reinforcement.
But the problem is
reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. I mean, that's the reason why it's in a quadrant format, and Skinner never did that, and nor did Conrad Most. So,
but the thing of it is,
quadrants from Conrad Most, you're just saying things, and it's not true.
It is true. Let me explain some history. Let's go back to the 1960s when Skinner was in his heyday. That's when Skinner was in his prime. Okay. And Temple Grandin actually outlined this in her book, because at the time, B.F. Skinner was a brilliant man. He's a national radical behaviorist. But when he actually discovered that human behavior is no different from animal behavior, and that's exactly what he's doing in his lab. Skinner would tell you as a radical behaviorist to replace your dog with a human child and ask you what you would do different. Why? Because he was replacing humans with dogs, pigeons, and rats in his lab, and he was doing experiments on animals in his lab to understand us. Skinner was a human behaviorist, not a dog trainer. That's the reality. He wasn't using rewards in his lab. He had pigeons that were starving and underweight, and he actually used variable schedules of reward, or reinforcement, not reward, and it was all computer controlled. That's the reality. Now go back to the 60s, because when Skinner turned around, they actually turned around, they assassinated B.F. Skinner professionally, and they overlaid him with Edward Thorndike and methodological behaviorism. So everything that people understand right now that they believe is B.F. Skinner is actually Edward Thorndike and methodological behaviorism. And one of the big rules of methodological behaviorism is don't you dare compare human behavior to that of lesser species. That's the reason why we have people saying it's just an animal, it's just a dog. Skinner would tell you point blank, you know what, we're no different behaviorally. What's causing the dog's behavior is no different from what's causing yours. And that's the problem I got with dog training. This is the problem I got with people blaming Skinner. Okay. Now in the 1990s, they turned around, dog trainers turned around, and they had this cake baked of Edward Thorndike. They iced that cake with Conrad Most, and they assigned Skinner's name to it. And the absolute trail of destruction left in his wake is incredible. It's immeasurable, and it will never be fixed. And you said yourself that positive reinforcement is associated with reward and punishment. A reward. It's not. Positive reinforcement in actuality.
Just to interrupt there.
Go ahead.
What to you is the difference between positive reinforcement and a reward? Because to me they're exactly they're the same thing.
No, they aren't.
So what's the difference? Please explain the difference.
What's an inducement?
What's an inducement? It's it's something that the dog wants to approach.
No. What is an inducement? Look up the word inducement.
No, so an inducement is something you do to control behavior,
manipulate behaviors. If you look up the word inducement in the dictionary, it's literally a bribe. And Conrad Most described primary inducements as food and affection.
You also have compulsive inducements, which, of course, that's not a bribe. It's
forcing the dog to do something using tool use. And this is where Conrad actually got into brown colors.
This is terminology from Conrad Most's book that he wrote in 1910.
Yep. Why are we applying it 120 years later?
I
110 years later.
I really don't understand your point when you're talking about Conrad Most.
Conrad Most is the father of what you know as IGP dog training.
What do you mean by that? Can you just elaborate a little bit? Explain how you see this way. I mean, I'm not saying that Conrad Most isn't influential, and for a long time after his book was published, this was how dog trainers train dogs. The modern training is very different to Conrad Most's work in 1910.
Let me post a link here so you just look at it. I don't know how to bring up the web pages on. I want you to read this. I'm going to post a link here from Learberg, and Learberg is one of the biggest balance training companies in the world. Okay. Read that link. Read that link, and you tell me, because they're actually stating point blank that Conrad Most.
Where's the link?
It's in the comments.
In the comments. Where do I find the comments?
Oh, you probably don't have access to them, do you? 1 second. Where's the private chat? Private chat. Okay. But I posted it for the public to look at too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in that on that one webpage, they're actually stating point blank it wasn't Skinner. It was the absolute, the very basis of what you know as dog training today is Conrad Most training dogs, and Conrad Most is the father of Schutzhund, and he's known as the father of Schutzhund, which became IPO in the early 2000s, which became IGP. Conrad Most is the very Bible for what you know as dog training today.
I wouldn't. Conrad Most's work has been massively influential over the years, and I wouldn't disagree with that. But
well, you know what? That's the reality. We got Ivan Balabanov will put his face on camera and state that only IGP trainers should be working in behavior, and there's no psychology whatsoever to Conrad Most. So getting back to the 60s,
I don't know what Ivan has said.
I do.
But what I can say is that he's a very highly skilled trainer. He's on a level that you wouldn't even believe exists.
But does Ivan belong in the behavior ring? That's the question. Does he have a qualifications to call himself a behaviorist?
Do you have the qualifications to call yourself a behaviorist?
Skinner wrote 21 books. You know how many I've read? I've been a student of psychology for over 30 years.
You've been a student of psychology for over 30 years, yeah. And is this self-taught, or is this have you gone to some university, or
no? I'm not going to. I never went to university.
Right. So
no, I took psych courses in college.
So what makes you more?
Well, you've seen the videos that I posted.
Well, the videos that you sent me.
Yeah, you stated. I asked you point blank. You seen the? You seen the video. You seen the video.
I really don't think that they showed anything of
they're not going to
substance at all.
In what capacity?
You had a dog that was in someone's back garden, and I don't know what you had the owner move away, and you go to open the back garden's gate, and you come into the dog's back garden, and obviously the dog is feeling somewhat territorial about the back garden. I mean, many dogs will display that sort of behavior, and really didn't show anything impressive to me. And
let's go into the
after that you took the dog to a dog park or something. I really don't see any dog training there.
There's no dog training. Again, there's dog training, and then there's behaviorism. There's psychology. There's behavioral psychology.
I don't see any behaviorism there neither.
Did you see the dog actually being great in the dog park?
I saw the second video you sent me, and the dog was in a dog park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you watch the first one?
I saw the first one. You went into the owner's back garden, and the dog was quite apprehensive of you.
No, let's get into the conversation we had over PMs, because I sent you the video of Freddie, the 110-pound pit bull, and I asked you point blank, would you enter this yard?
Yeah,
you said point blank you wouldn't do it because you wouldn't do it without a bite suit.
No, I
what I'm
wouldn't,
doing, this is called behavioral psychology. I understand dogs. I don't have fear of dogs. You do. That's the reality.
Well,
you are.
So you also said in those comments that you got bitten by the dog.
That was my own stupid fault. I'm going to find a video and I'll give it to you because I actually reached over and I started petting this guy in the head.
And you know what I really don't want to even, there's
no, we're going to do this.
There's no point me even explaining this, but the whole reason for the bite suit is that you can go into, I mean, one, why would you be doing something like that in the first place? But two,
I can answer that.
The reason for the bite suit is that you're able to interact with an aggressive dog and not have any fear whatsoever of the dog biting you, and have zero reaction to the dog biting you.
Well, again, just stop
of the bite suit. So
just stop and let me explain.
You're going to go in there.
Let me explain.
It's not a great training video from what I saw, but
it's not a training video. I'm not training dogs. That's the reality. It's all psychological behavior. It's all psychology. The behavior itself is a science of its own, and Robert Cabral is over there selling t-shirts and mugs saying that science has no place in dog training. What I'm bringing right now is a science that he doesn't want in dog training. That's the reality, and he's not liking it very much.
I really don't want to talk about other dog trainers in this podcast. I want to talk about you and your perspective. Going after other dog trainers is not.
Can you let me speak?
To any conversation.
Can you let me speak?
Absolutely.
Okay. When it came to Freddie, he's a 110-pound pit bull. Now, what you were seeing at the gate when I walked up to the gate is what trainers call barrier aggression. Okay? No trainers would actually meet him. He actually called 10 different trainers in the city. Not one person would come out and meet him. And it was trainers telling him point blank to kill the dog. They haven't met the dog. They haven't assessed the dog. They haven't diagnosed the dog, but yet they're telling him over the phone to kill the dog. And I can get Murray over here and actually explain that to you. Okay? Now, what you're calling barrier aggression, that gate is the barrier. Well, guess what? You've seen what happened when I open up the gate. All of a sudden, you open up the gate, you get rid of the barrier. What am I seeing? I'm seeing the scared dog now. Not the aggressive dog. You're going, stop and listen. Stop and listen. You're going in under the premise that the dog is aggressive. There's no such thing as an aggressive dog. Something is causing the dog to show aggression. If a dog is in pain, guess what? They can show aggression and reactivity as a result. Okay? Something is causing it. It's all causality. It's all cause and effect. This is where dog trainers are going wrong because they don't care about the cause. If a dog is got pancreatitis, again, that's going to cause pain. Pancreatitis, low-grade pancreatitis. A lot of dogs are low-grade pancreatitis. They're always in pain because of dog food. And I can explain that to you. Now, a lot of trainers don't even know that the dog is in pain, but they're going to reach for the tools and start shutting down the behaviors. I want to understand the cause. That's what I'm focused on, is understanding the cause, because according to Skinner himself, stop and listen, according to Skinner himself, the very object of the science of behavior is understanding and discovering its causes. But yet I don't see any trainers out there focused on cause. They're all just trying to shut down the behaviors. And you know what? Skinner would tell you point blank. You got all the positive reinforcement trainers, purely positive, balanced IGP trainers out there to shut down behaviors. Use a tool to shut down behaviors. You can do it in 10 minutes. And Skinner himself would declare that as punishment. Okay? So when I walk into a backyard, when I walk into Freddie's backyard, you'd have him in a muzzle and you'd be wearing a bite suit at minimum.
No, I wouldn't know. Yep. No.
How many trainers out there are using? How many trainers are out there using muzzles? Now, what the muzzle and the leash are doing is actually taking away the dog's positive reinforcement. And this is where we need to start defining positive reinforcement. When a dog is in fight or flight showing aggression and reactivity, it's a cortisol response, and that is the dog's positive reinforcement in the face of a negative reinforcement. That's the reality. I'm not going to take that away. The dog's not wearing a muzzle. The dog's not wearing any tools. The dog is in control when I walk into a backyard. Why am I doing this? Because I understand dogs. I understand the animal that I am. And that's exactly what Skinner is saying. Human beings are animals, and the causes of our behavior is no different from the dogs. But yet when dog trainers turn around and blame Skinner for all this dog training nonsense, it pisses me off.
Right. I don't know where we want to go with this.
Well, again, do you want to start? Do you want to define a couple of words?
No.
No, of course not.
I'm really not interested in a conversation that is about defining words. But
well, the entire system of dog training comes down to the definition of one word. What is a behavior? They're all in the behavior ring. What is a behavior? Let me explain what a behavior.
I can define behavior for you if you want, but I'm not going to sit here and have a whole conversation where I'm defining word after word.
One word, actually 2 words. Let's define behavior and positive reinforcement, because that's the big thing you don't understand. You told me point blank you associate positive reinforcement with reward. It's not reward. Positive reinforcement is operant conditioning. They go hand in hand. How do dog trainers define operant conditioning? If you get on Google and look up operant conditioning, you're going to get a method of behavioral modification using reward and punishment. That's not operant conditioning. That's the reality.
So how would you define positive reinforcement then?
Well, let's define operant conditioning, shall we? Let me bring this on.
Yeah, go on then. You define operant conditioning for us.
I'm gonna let Skinner define operant conditioning. Okay.
I think we went over this as well on our phone call earlier. We went over defining these terms, and I really don't see it as being super useful. But
well, dog trainers are pushing operant conditioning to quadrants of operant. If dog trainers are going to push the quadrants of operant conditioning, then we need to define the word operant conditioning, don't we?
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Okay, let me just find it. Just give me 1 second here. That's the one definition I don't have in my freaking. Hang on 1 second. What is going on here? My freaking thing keeps crashing. Yeah, right here. Let's bring this on here.
I mean, if you want, I can define it for you.
Go ahead.
It's you want me to define operant conditioning?
Sure.
So it's simply a type of learning in which an individual's behavior is influenced by the consequences that follow it.
Okay, that's how you define operant conditioning. This is Skinner's definition of operant conditioning.
How I would define it.
Well, this is Skinner's definition of operant conditioning. This is direct from the book about behaviorism. A very different process through which a person comes to deal effectively with a new environment is operant conditioning. So if you meet something new in the environment that you're not too sure of, it's going to be a negative reinforcement to you. Your positive reinforcement as a response is to fight or flight or become indifferent. That's the only 3 choices that you have. A very different process through which a person comes to deal effectively with a new environment is operant conditioning. How does that translate to reward and punishment? If we're going to talk about quadrants of operant conditioning, we need to define operant conditioning. And this is your positive reinforcement.
I don't see how this is different to what I just said. This is a slightly longer version. I really simplified it.
I'm going to tell you.
So really, the 2 main types of learning that are important, the 2 things that every dog trainer should first learn are classical conditioning and then operant conditioning. And classical conditioning is about building predictive associations between stimuli, and operant conditioning is about learning through consequences. It's really, that's
the most basic. What is positive reinforcement then?
What is positive reinforcement? So you want me to define positive reinforcement now?
Well, the thing of it is, trainers are always talking about positive reinforcement training. I'm asking you to define operant conditioning and positive reinforcement. That's it. What is positive reinforcement?
Sure. I'll define positive reinforcement. It's the presentation of a stimulus following a behavior that increases the likelihood of that behavior in the future, or at least that's the standard sort of definition is along those lines.
That's a standard definition from dog trainers, right? You know
No,
what?
no, that's the standard definition in just
No,
operant conditioning
for dog
terminology. No, no,
trainers.
no, 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 not for dog trainers. It's
No, it's not.
a relatively standard simplification of the definition in any academic textbook.
The basic definition of operant conditioning is your desire not to die. That is the actions you take to stay alive. Okay? What does he say here? Many things in the environment, such as food, water, sexual contact, escape from harm, which is fight and flight, are crucial for the survival of the individual and the species. So you need food, you need water, you need shelter. That's the basic needs of life. It's about survival of the species and survival of the animal itself. And you need procreation to carry on the species. Okay? If human beings stop procreating, which is really happening now, the species is going to collapse. And that's exactly what's happening to us right now. That's operant conditioning. And that is your positive reinforcement. Your positive reinforcement is not reward. Does not have a treat. Your positive reinforcement is everything that you are. It's everything that you've experienced in your life, positive and negative. I don't see chance anymore. I see positive and negative consequences. And in the face of a negative reinforcement, you're going to fight, flight, or become indifferent. And indifference is making it not a big deal. That's called socialization.
Right.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but once you do, operant conditioning is all about survival of the animal and the species. That's what it is. It's not have a retreat.
I've researched this to
Have you actually sat down and read Skinner's books?
Quite a high level. Yeah.
Have you actually?
I have. I've read the Behavior of Organisms.
Yeah, published in 1938. 38 is a long time ago. This was published in the 70s. This is one of his last books. And this is a complete summation of his career.
Yeah, but there's also more modern works which...
I don't care. Every dog trainer out there is blaming B.F. Skinner for the quadrants of operant conditioning. And they got the entire definition of operant conditioning wrong.
I really don't understand what you mean by that. Every dog trainer out there is blaming Skinner for the quadrants of operant conditioning. Well, Skinner did create the terminology positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment.
Show me in any book, any writing that Skinner ever did that mentions positive and negative punishment. It doesn't exist because Skinner himself openly opposed punishment.
Yeah, and for really very much ideological reasons, not because punishment doesn't work.
No, it's not ideological. He did these experiments in a lab. That's the reality. That's what dog trainers don't want to face.
Skinner was really, he had a very deep opposing, he was deeply opposed to coercion and oppressive control in society. He even wrote like a novel where he argued for a world where
it was based on positive reinforcement,
by positive reinforcement rather than punishment or reversive control.
Right.
And he saw punishment as the tool for authoritarian leadership.
Exactly.
But this is his ideological stance, but it doesn't mean that punishment doesn't work. We know that punishment absolutely works. It's
it doesn't.
Anyone who's had, yeah, it's imagine a society where there wasn't any police. Could you imagine that sort of world?
What are the police? They are the constant threat of punishment. Why? Because punishment is reverse of reinforcing. That's Skinner's own words. It weakens. It causes fear.
And I agree that punishment is the reverse of reinforcement. There's nothing magical about that.
Punishment is just read this. Punishment is easily confused with negative reinforcement, sometimes called aversive control. Aversive tools, aversive control, that's dog training, right? The same stimuli are used, and negative reinforcement might be defined as punishment for not behaving, and that's what dog trainers define negative reinforcement as. They use negative reinforcement and punishment hand in hand. It's not. But punishment is designed to remove a behavior from a bloody repertoire, whereas negative reinforcements generate behaviors. So in the face of a negative reinforcement, you are going to fight or flight, or you become indifferent. That's it. It's very simple. And it's right here in black and white.
The whole idea of negative reinforcement, and by the way, negative reinforcement is not always, it can be, there's a degree. You can really vary that intensity of the negative reinforcement. And even like if you look at some of the most interesting games, I train judo, jiu-jitsu. These are games that are primarily based off of negative reinforcement. And, it's not always this, it's not always you're using this very high level of intensity when you're using negative reinforcement. But of course, it can be as well. The mechanism is the same, and it's a mechanism of escaping an aversive stimulus, and hopefully, if it's implemented well, then the eventual goal for any animal is to avoid the aversive stimulus.
Escape from harm.
No, to avoid the aversive stimulus from ever occurring again.
It's aversive stimulus, and when a dog escapes or when a human being escapes, that is actually positively reinforcing to the animal.
Yeah, you can think of it that way, and you could say the same thing about positive reinforcement. There was I can't remember the name of I think it was a lady who had this theory on all positive reinforcement is ultimately kind of like internal negative reinforcement. Like you want to eat food, and one of the reasons for that is because you're hungry and you're removing some unpleasant internal states. So there's lots of different arguments like this, but a lot of them are really not beneficial to the actual application of what we're doing. What's this new one? Punishing contingencies are just the reverse of reinforcing. When a person spanks a child or threatens to spank him because he is misbehaved, he is presenting a negative reinforcer rather than removing one.
And what does that mean?
I don't know. You tell me.
It's just examples. Punishment is the application of negative reinforcement, which removes positive reinforcement. You see, positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement are yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. That's reality. For every cloud, there's a silver lining, right? For every positive, there's a negative, a possible negative. And if you don't understand that, walking down the sidewalk is a positive consequence. Trip and fall flat in your face, it becomes a negative.
I don't think you understand the concept of negative reinforcement and positive reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement.
When we say when negative and positive is said, that just means negative means that you're removing a stimulus, and positive means that you're adding something. It doesn't mean that one is bad. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
So when you're walking on the sidewalk and you're avoiding going into the road, or you're wearing shoes instead of going barefoot to avoid some stones in the pavement, this is not you being positively reinforced by doing that. You're being negatively reinforced, and it's the avoidance portion of negative reinforcement.
You see, where you and I differ, I actually look at the world through the dog's eyes, from the dog's point of view. Trainers are looking at the world for their own. If the effect were simply to reverse the effect of reinforcement, a great deal of behavior could be easily explained. But when a behavior is punished, various stimuli generated by the behavior on the occasion are conditioned and respond to pattern. And the punished behavior is then displaced by incompatible behavior, conditioned as escape or avoidance. Right? And a punished person remains inclined to behave in the same way because it doesn't change the mind. All of your behaviors, you have no control over your behaviors. Your mind has no control over your behaviors. That's the reality.
I would strongly disagree with that.
Well, this is what Skinner is. The very field of psychology is the very study of the mind and behavior.
I understand Skinner's point of view, and it's...
No, apparently you don't.
Okay, well...
Because we're reading Skinner right here.
I don't. That's absolutely fine, but I do. And it is one where the world has... where there's no free will, and yeah.
There is no free will. Skinner would tell you point blank there's no free will.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
Why? But why?
Well, because he believes that all behavior is caused by the consequence that occurred when you first, say, experimented with that behavior. He believes that all behavior has to have been positively reinforced at some point or negatively reinforced at some point. It's yeah.
Okay, so
That's why he believes that that's one of the
let's
main reasons why he believes there's no such thing as free will, because of that.
because we are all products of our environment. Period. End of sentence. That's the reality. All of your behaviors are a result of something in the environment. Now let's get back to dog trainers that don't. Like, you're claiming that dog trainers aren't blaming Skinner. I've been watching this show for the last 15 plus years, and that's the reality. 15 years ago, treats and tools were a tool of last resort. Use the tool, get rid of the tool. Train the dog, get rid of the tool. Same thing with e-collars. It was the tool of last resort.
Well, I would just like to quickly interrupt there. For good dog trainers, when we decide to use, say, an aversive tool, the end goal is to be able to remove that and never have to use it again. That's what it should be for a good dog trainer.
It doesn't happen. All I ever hear now is always leave it on.
It certainly does. There's a lot of bad dog trainers out there, but for good dog trainers, it's.
Okay, Haas Hoffman over at Shield Canine, is he a good trainer?
I'm not going to comment on individual trainers.
Because Haas Hoffman will blame Skinner.
Like I said, I'm not going to comment on individual trainers.
Well, I will. Haas Hoffman has a whole splash page on his website about BF Skinner and the quadrants of operant conditioning. Ivan Balabanov will sit on camera and blame Skinner for the quadrants of operant conditioning. Robert Cabral will sit on camera and blame Skinner for the quadrants of operant conditioning.
You're really just repeating yourself over and over again.
They're all doing the same thing.
I really don't understand what you're trying to say. Skinner created the terminology: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment. He created that terminology.
How can you say that?
Maybe he definitely didn't put it into a quadrant format, but that's meaningless. No one cares about that little 4 square box. That really is not important to the conversation. Just because he didn't create that part doesn't mean that he didn't create the rest of it. So I really don't understand. You keep repeating this same talking point of saying that different trainers are blaming Skinner for the quadrants of operant conditioning. I don't understand what you mean by that. He created operant conditioning. That's all I can say.
He created operant conditioning, but the definition of operant conditioning that they're using is a method of behavioral modification using reward and punishment. That's not operant conditioning. And you yourself state that positive reinforcement is about reward.
Explain what operant conditioning is.
A survival of the fittest. It's your desire not to die. Do you want me to bring it up again?
And so let's say, it's.
You're not sure what to say, are you?
Not easy to. Well, no, because you're obviously a little bit confused about what operant conditioning is, and you're separating reward and punishment and saying, okay, there's
reward and punishment is Conrad Most.
Is not. What do you mean rewarding a behavior is Conrad Most? I mean, maybe he used that language, and well, Skinner didn't use the language reward. He used it.
There's no maybe to it. There's no maybe to it. Let me pull up Conrad Most book. We're going to read right from Conrad Most book. No.
If this is how you want to do this, and this is your show, so I'm not going to object. But
okay, well, let me grab it from his book directly.
But really, okay. I don't want to just be having this whole conversation about semantics. Let's find out about how you train dogs. So I really want to know what you do. It's
not semantics.
A lot of it is what you're coming up with at the moment. It is just very unimportant conversation that's really meaningless.
Really? Okay, let's look at Conrad Most. Okay.
Because sure. Let's look at Conrad Most.
1 second.
This is the secret dog training book that everyone's hiding from the world, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Conrad. I don't know where you get these ideas from.
Okay, reward and punishment. What does it say right here? The contrasted feelings of what's pleasant and unpleasant are, of course, as thank you. What does he say here? Canine behavior is a reward of results, rewards and punishments obtained as a result of human contact. Cake and stick, enticement and menace, inducements and compulsions. That's what it is.
Yeah,
This is your reward and punishment.
I remember reading this exact section from the book.
Yeah. And if we go on,
yeah.
you can actually, I got the video up there right now.
Yeah, it is an absolutely fantastic book. And most people would agree that he was way ahead of his time. You know, he came up with these ideas way before Skinner. It's a fantastic dog training book, and I would highly recommend everyone read it.
Do you remember the part? Yeah. Do you actually remember the part where he actually lays out rules for beating a dog into submission?
I understand that there's some very unethical by today's standard things in that book. I'm talking about the actual concepts that he put in the book.
It's the concepts.
To this day.
This is the concept. This is the basis of dog training today. All reward and punishment. Skinner wasn't about reward and punishment. He openly opposed punishment. But you're telling me point blank that he created the positive and negative punishment quadrants. How does a man create the punishment quadrants when he openly opposed punishment?
You obviously haven't read Skinner's book if you're saying that he didn't create the terminology positive and negative punishment.
Skinner openly opposed punishment.
Yes, I know he openly opposed punishment.
So where did the punishment quadrants come from? Where did the punishment quadrants come from?
Well, if you read his book, you might see him write about it.
Yeah, he says punishment is the reverse of reinforcement. Punishment doesn't work. Why? Because let me explain what the definition of behavior is.
It absolutely does work, and I'm not even going to go into the science here. I could really.
Well, you need to get into the science.
I could go very deep into the science right here, but I'm not going to.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear it.
No, I'm not going to go into the science. I'm just going to talk about.
If you know about the science, I want to hear your science.
No. I'm just going to go on about day-to-day reality for everyone and every creature on this planet. Aversive control is a part of life, and it's a very important part of life.
That Skinner railed against.
Back to this question. Could you imagine a world where police didn't exist?
Yes.
You can imagine a world like that.
Yep. You see, Skinner wrote Walden 2 as to respond to all of his detractors, okay? And Noam Chomsky was one of them. Noam Chomsky tried to line up Skinner and try to accuse him of being a methodological behaviorist. Okay, so now I'm seeing Noam Chomsky's name, and I'm seeing dog trainers out there. Oh yeah, Noam Chomsky disagreed with Skinner. No, Noam Chomsky tried to paint B.F. Skinner, a radical behaviorist, as a methodological behaviorist. This is part of the assassination process. They overlaid B.F. Skinner with Conrad or with Edward Thorndike. So what people believe to be B.F. Skinner is actually Edward Thorndike and methodological behaviorism. That's the reality.
Okay. So Thorndike, and even Skinner says this in his own words, was really one of the pioneers for saying, hey, behavior is controlled by the consequences that follow. And then Skinner greatly elaborated on that and came up with what we know today as positive negative reinforcement and positive punishment, negative punishment, and also secondary punishers and
stop with the punishment. Skinner openly opposed punishment. Why did Skinner? Let me define the word behavior, and I'll explain to you. Give me 2 minutes to explain to you why B.F. Skinner openly opposed punishment. Okay.
Go ahead.
We need to understand what a behavior is. A behavior is your body's response to something in the environment. It's an emotional, hormonal response to something in the environment. And it's like we talked.
No, that's not what.
Can you please let me explain? Okay.
But that's just not factually true. That's not you're going by definitions, and
what causes
the most up-to-date definitions would disagree with that.
What causes fight or flight?
What do you mean by fight or flight? You've got fight, flight, or freeze response. It's
fight is aggression. Fight is aggression. Flight is the avoidance, reactivity. What causes fight and flight?
There's many different things that cause it, but it's a response to. It's a response to.
I don't care what I don't care what it's a response to. What causes it?
Well, the response is really what is the. What it's a response to aversive stimuli or the
A negative reinforcement in the environment.
Or the prediction of aversive stimuli. That's what you can really.
What
that's
causes
what it's caused by.
What causes fight or flight? Cortisol. Cortisol is your very fight or flight hormone.
Okay, that's the.
Are you going to argue that?
That's the hormone that's released, and there are also studies that really cortisol is not you can't consider cortisol so much
really
a stress hormone. You can consider it more as a preparedness hormone.
Good Lord. What is a behavior? Let me explain what a behavior. Give me 2 minutes.
Action. That's what cortisol is. And if I go outside and I play fetch with my dog, and you measure the cortisol levels, you'll see that there's a marked increase than when we're just walking casually down the street. And I think there's more and more research, and I'm no expert in any of this, and I don't claim to be, but there's more and more research to suggest that cortisol is you can think of it more as a marker of an organism going preparing for an event. So
well, here's the thing with here's the thing.
So it's really not a reliable marker of a stress response.
Really?
No.
So when I'm in the backyard,
that's quite widely agreed upon.
Can you give me 2 minutes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please.
What is a behavior? Okay. First of all, what is psychology? It's the very study of the mind and behavior. And in order to understand, we need to treat two of them separately. Okay. Have you ever had the hair stand in the back of your neck? Danger imminent?
I have indeed.
Okay. Could you control that behavior?
No.
That's your hackles. That's your animal hackles. If you can't control it, when the dog's hackles go up, it's no different for the dog. What is it caused by? Not your mind, because your hackles are going up. That's your limbic. Your limbic system is putting the hair in the back of your neck. Your mind is trying to figure out what's going on. Your mind is trying to play catch up. If I stick a taser on your leg, you're going to dance across the floor. And your mind is going to be going, what the hell is going on? And it takes a while for your mind to catch up because your mind is not in control of your behaviors. Your limbic system of your brain is the very control center for all of your emotions, which are your instincts that drive your behaviors. Okay? So when you're in the, all of a sudden, you're in a state of fear, or you meet something new in the environment that you're not too sure of, your limbic system is detecting that emotion called fear or anxiety, and it's going to send a signal to your adrenal glands to increase your cortisol and adrenaline loads. That's going to put you on the precipice of fight or flight. Now, if you need to, if you really need to fight or flight, it's going to increase those cortisol and adrenaline loads. Now, one of the big side effects when I'm dealing with dogs, and this is where we got to get into a dangerous dog, because dangerous dogs, when a dog's eyes or a human's eyes go bloodshot, that's when they're in the danger territory. Why? Because cortisol and adrenaline are raging. They're driving blood pressure to the roof, and now your eyes are bloodshot. How many people right now are sitting in jail after doing a crime of passion? They were in such a rage that they killed somebody or maimed somebody, and they don't even realize they did it. That's a dangerous human being. But people say, dangerous dog, you got to kill it. But how is that dangerous dog in a calm state? That's what I'm interested in. Why is the dog not in a calm state? What's causing those cortisol loads to go through the roof? And I've faced dangerous dogs. I've been in the backyard with dangerous dogs. Bear was a dangerous dog. And I'll get to the video for that one. When her eyes went bloodshot, that's when she started nipping me. That's when she drew blood on me. So it's your limbic system that actually detects your emotions. So there's default behaviors as a result of emotions. So when you're in a state of joy or happiness, you got default behaviors as a result of that. When you're in a state of fear,
Absolutely.
You've got default behaviors because of that. When you're in a state of depression or grief or anger or whatever have you, if you're in a state of sadness, you've got default behaviors as a result of it. If somebody's sad, chances are going to cry. If they're not sad, well, the tears won't need to flow. If you're not in a fear state, you don't need to fight or flight, and it's a state of calm. And a state of calm is the default state for all animals. No animal wants to live in stress and fear and everything else. That's the reality. Right? So what is a behavior? It's your body's response to something in the environment, positive or negative. When a grandmother meets her, I was at a friend of mine's house one night. She was a grandmother for the first time. And her daughter was down in Calgary, which is 3 hours away. And the first time she came in, as soon as that baby entered the door, she had a emotion of joy. And she had a fight response. She's like, give me the baby. Whereas me, I don't like babies. I can't stand. And as soon as I smell the dirty diaper coming into the house, my behavior as a result of disgust was to go to the toilet and ready to puke. These are all emotions, the instincts that drive our behaviors. If the emotion doesn't exist in the first place, well, guess what? The behavior has no reason to exist. So when a dog shows fight or flight because they're in a fear state, dog trainers are out there trying to shut down the behaviors. You're focusing on the effect. I'm focused on the cause. When a dog is in a fear state, I'm going to try to help the dog overcome the fear. I don't care about behaviors. I can see the same behaviors of fight or flight from any animal, human included. I don't care about behaviors. I walk into backyards of hundreds of dogs. I'm seeing the same behaviors over and over and over again. I can see the same behaviors. My girlfriend came home pissed off one day. She was in fight or flight, ready to start swinging. I don't care about behaviors. I need to understand what's causing the behaviors. And when the girlfriend was pissed off that day, I had to wait until she calmed down because there's no chance of having a good conversation with somebody that's in that state of mind. When they're in a calm state, that's what I want the dog to do. The dog is eventually going to calm down. The emotion goes away. The resulting behaviors go away. Once the emotion goes away, the hormones as associated with it are going to go away. Once the dog goes into a calm state, guess what? The behaviors themselves go extinct. There's no such thing as an aggressive dog. That's the reality. But yet, aggression is not a diagnosis. There's something causing the aggression. If it's pain, why are we focused on the outcome, the behavioral outcomes, when we should be focused on the pain? You fix the cause, the behaviors go extinct on their own. If you fix the pain, the behaviors as a result of pain go extinct on their own. That's called extinction.
Not necessarily, no.
Why not? So go ahead, explain it to me.
So you understand what a habit is?
Understand what?
What a habit is.
Yeah, I do.
Well, that's yeah, you can yeah. So,
or it's a nun's outfit.
With that, you're right. When the cause is removed, and this is what any good dog trainer will do. When the cause of an undesirable behavior is removed, then that behavior will go away, and it won't come back.
But yeah, we got trainers out there saying that aggression is for life.
The important point here is that really, well, I'm not sure where I'm gonna go here. What learning is about violating expectations. So, the dog.
Whose expectations? Yours or the dog's?
The dog's expectations.
What do you think a dog expects?
You're aware of prediction error theory?
Yep.
Yeah, so this
and
is
dogs.
This is what, this
dogs
is
too
what
have
is about.
Dogs too have a predictive brain, just like us.
Yes, exactly. So
Dr. Greg Burns did a great podcast on that.
This is really what learning is about, is creating that violation of the dog's expectation, really, and the stronger that is, the better. And this is where I do have a problem with, I have problems with a lot of trainers where, say you've got a human aggressive dog, and the trainer just immediately takes the lead of the dog from the owner, and the dog comes at them and they start swinging the dog around, and maybe they've even got the electric collar on the dog. And what does that do? Well, it really shows the dog that all your ideas about humans are in fact correct.
Yep.
All of your beliefs that humans are bad are true, and that's a really bad approach. Saying that, are there times where you need to just get some suppression of the behavior, some temporary suppression, so that you can start to show the dog a new version of reality?
Suppression is dangerous.
Absolutely,
suppression.
There are times where that's needed, but yeah.
So suppression of aggression is a good thing to you?
I wouldn't disagree with your sentiment that we need to focus on the cause of behaviors. That's important. But
what?
yeah, you're. I want to know about you. I want to know about you
Okay.
as a dog trainer, and I really want to, like, say I give you an example, and you might have even heard this example on my last podcast with Larry Cron. Did you? I don't know if you watched that
No.
podcast or not. You didn't watch it, yeah. So
So
I gave a.
give me an
Pardon?
example. Give me an example.
So I'm going to give you a training scenario, a metaphorical dog, one that is not here, and I just tell me in very procedural language, in very basic. This is step by step what I would probably do, and if this didn't work, this is what I would do. How you would deal
Okay.
with this dog. So
Bring it on.
let's say we've got a dog that's got a problem with chasing cars. We'll say chasing cars. It could be chasing cats. It could be chasing squirrels in the tree. And
Okay.
we need to stop that behavior.
How would you do it, first of all?
Well, I'll get to that, but I want to hear what you've got to say first.
Okay. Well, give me the floor.
So first of all, how would you deal with that problem? And then I've got a question after that as well. So.
Well, first of all, then give me the floor for a few minutes to explain, okay? With the interruption.
Go ahead.
Now, just about every breed out there is designed to chase something. Huskies were designed to chase the wind, pulling a sled. Pomeranians are actually sled dogs. We got Aussie Shepherds, which are herding dogs. We got hunting dogs. We got tracking dogs. They're all chasing something. The problem with dog training today, they're always telling you to control and manage the dog. I'm not going for control and management. What you're doing by control and management, and we got trainers out there telling you point blank that if you let your dog chase, it's going to create prey drive. What is prey drive in my opinion? In my experience, prey drive is a frustrated dog because they don't get the chase. So the first thing I tell dog owners, and again, the group was full of it. You were in the group. But my number one thing, get a dog on a flirt pole, find something that the dog wants to do. Buy a remote control car, okay? Buy a remote control car and you get that dog into a controlled environment and you let that dog chase that car in a flat out chase until they're tired, until they're satisfied. You're actually telling the dog, you know what? Now is the time and the place to get out to get the genetics out of your system.
Absolutely agree.
So you get that dog chasing a remote control car until they're really tired and really satisfied, and then take that dog for a walk. That same dog that you was dragging it down the street and raising at the world, you tell me how many behaviors you got left over.
Okay, so let's say the dog. We'll use car chasing as an example, because with other animals, you might think that it's okay that a dog chases other prey animals. But we'll use car chasing as an example because that's extremely dangerous to the dog and the humans that are driving the cars and passers-by, etc. You've done this. You've given them some fulfillment. You've given them some.
No, I'm treating them like a dog. I'm letting them be a dog.
You've really given them the outlet for their needs, so to speak. Now, let's say they're still chasing cars, because there's a lot of dogs that even after you've done that, they're still going to be chasing cars. What's your next step from there?
You keep doing it, because eventually the dog is going to learn and understand that, you know what, I got a time and a place. That's what my own dog did. When I got my own dog, when I got Monty, he was 5 years old, and dog trainers destroyed that dog. They cut his nuts off. They had him turned into a basket case. When I first got Monty, he's only a 10-pound miniature pinscher, and the miniature pinscher is a vermin dog. They are a hunting dog. Now, he never learned to hunt. But for the first 3 days, or for the first 2 days, he was on leash. We went out to dog parks. We went out to pet stores, everywhere I could take him. And whenever he acted out, I always knew what was coming down the trail. I stay calm. I'm de-escalating. Point blank, period. I'm asking him, you know what, join me in calm. I hold onto his collar gently, and I let him have it out. And the whole purpose is to get him to a calm state so he can rationalize away and understand that, you know what, there's nothing negative happening here. And that's the very skill that dogs aren't learning today. It's the skill of rationalization. Hear me out. When human beings are scared in the environment, okay, again, you've got three choices. In the face of a negative reinforcement or something that you deem negative that you're meeting for the first time, you've only got three choices. You can fight, you can flight, or you can become indifferent. That's Skinner himself, and he's actually put that up in Walden too. I can actually show you that. Okay?
No, I'm not interested in
Well, somebody better start getting interested in B.F. Skinner, because the entire system of dog training is blaming him for it.
I've read his
Now,
books before, but so
the thing, stop and listen. Let me finish.
I just want to quickly say here, you're assuming that the dog is chasing cars because they're afraid of cars.
No.
Right. So let's say the dog really enjoys chasing cars.
Why is the dog chasing cars? Why is the chasing cars a positive reinforcement to a dog? Why would it be?
It triggers their prey drive. It triggers their want to chase and.
Why do they have prey drive?
Go after prey.
Why do they have prey drive in the first place?
Well, it's important to. It was at one stage, and for some dogs it may still be, and definitely other canine species. It's important to their survival to have that want to chase and.
That's exactly it, and that's why I give them an outlet for it. I always tell the owners to give them an outlet for it.
I completely agree with that, but for some dogs, that's really not going to be all you can. That's really not going to solve the issue.
We've got almost 5,000 people in the group right now, okay? And there's a whole lot of dog owners out there right now that are getting the remote control car 2 or 3 times a week. They get the dog out into a controlled environment. They say, you know what? Get out and be a dog. Get out and do your chase. Get it out of your system. And they're coming around and they're stop and listen. Okay? It doesn't take very long to understand, for the dog to understand, you know what? There's a time and a place to do it. And it has to be consistent. When you give the dog a job, and this is called giving the dog purpose, and that's the number one thing we don't have today. My number one client when I was working with dogs, right now I'm editing a field because I'm medically disabled, okay? My number one client that I was working with was pit bulls because nobody else wanted to work with them. Every dog owner that called me up with a so-called aggressive pit bull, they called numerous trainers, and not one would even come out and meet them. And 9 times out of 10, they're being told to kill the dog over the phone. Okay, we got dog trainers out there that are telling dog owners, sight unseen, a person that they don't know, to kill a dog that they haven't met, assessed, or diagnosed. Is that fair?
No, of course it's not fair.
And you can do this yourself. You can create your own artificial pit bull. Call up dog trainers. Call up 10, 20 dog trainers. I don't care if it's positive reinforcement to balance training to IGP. You call up any 20 dog trainers in your city and say, you know what? I got an 80-pound aggressive pit bull.
I don't disagree.
Exactly. But yet, what's going on here?
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but
you're
not answering my question. My question is about a dog. You've given them this fulfillment. You've given them a purpose, which I completely agree with. But that's not enough.
Monty goes to dog parks.
Let me give an example quickly here.
Go ahead.
Say a dog chases squirrels, and a dog really enjoys chasing squirrels.
That's my dog.
Yeah. So you allow the dogs to chase squirrels. They really enjoy chasing squirrels.
Yep.
But they also enjoy chasing deer. Just because they have lots of time chasing squirrels doesn't mean they're going to stop chasing deer. And your hypothesis here is that you're going to get this remote controlled car or play fetch or use the foot pole, and all of a sudden the dog's going to decide, okay, you know, I don't need to chase cars anymore, even though I enjoy it just as much, if not more so, than going after the flirt pole or the car. It's enough to stop me from ever wanting to chase anything else ever again.
Let's take a German Shepherd.
That's just wrong.
Let's use the German Shepherd as an example, okay? Now, we got balance training, we got IGP, and they're always going for control and management, okay? That's the reality. Now, you take a German Shepherd that's designed, it's actually the very reason for their existence is to chase and herd. They're herding dogs, okay? Mm-hmm. So is a Malinois, a Belgian Shepherd. They're herding dogs. Now, if you take that and keep walking it on a prong and keep it under control and managed situations, they're going to be seeing all these moving targets out in the environment. And eventually that frustration of them not being allowed to chase is going to become that prey drive that you're talking about. And everything that moves at some point is going to become something to chase. Eventually it's going to be to kill. So Monty, he's a hunting dog. He's a vermin dog. He's not a very good hunter. He's never made a kill, but he enjoys to chase. We go to dog parks. We go to wilderness areas. I step into the woods. I start flipping logs. There's a mouse. He's gone. Squirrel up in the tree. He's going after it. He's going to chase it. And squirrels, for the most part around here, they only torment him. Like Monty's not a very tall dog, but squirrels will sit 4 or 5 feet up in the branch and actually taunt Monty. They'll actually Twitter at him, and he's just barking at them. And I can show you a video of this. Monty learned very quickly that a dog park is where you get it out of your system. When we're walking down the main street, I can walk him anywhere on a leash, or without a leash on. I can walk him anywhere without a leash. I can walk him through a busy downtown core. He's not going to chase because he knows that there's a time and a place.
And how did you
That's
teach that? How exactly did you teach that? How did you teach him?
through
Okay, this
consistency.
place over here you can chase, and then when we're on the street, this is the time where you don't chase. How did you teach that without using reinforcement or punishment or
Because
anything, without actually trying to control behavior?
In a dog park, I will actively step out into the woods and start flipping logs. Now we're in hunt mode. This is the time and the place. I'm actually taking the dog hunting. That's the reality. Okay? And he's understanding, this is now my time to get it out of my system. Get out and be a dog. When we're walking down Main Street, it's not the time to be a dog. He's off smelling, only a few feet away from me. But that's the reality. He will not chase anything when we're on a walk. He understands that dog parks and wilderness areas, when I initiate the hunt, when I start flipping logs and whatnot, he understands this is the time and the place to go hunting. This is where dogs learn. Dogs are a lot more intelligent and understand than we give them credit for. That's the reality. Dogs are more capable than human beings. Dogs can smell cancer. Dogs can detect impending heart attacks and strokes. They can detect the heart rate from across the room. They're reading you in real time, 24 hours a day. So when your cortisol levels all of a sudden go up, you stink of fear to the dog. How is the dog supposed to react? I am always calm. I am always calm.
This is going back to the idea that the dog is chasing the car from some kind of fear response.
What makes you think it's a fear response?
They're fearful of the car.
Why? Why do you make that assumption?
Well, that's what you're saying here. If you're saying
the dog is not afraid of the car, the car is something to chase.
I agree. That's what I'm
saying. The car is a moving target.
Car.
The car is a moving target. The dog is not afraid of the car. The dog isn't. That's just another moving target. That's all it is. And the dog doesn't understand it. How do you apply? How do you give a dog understanding? I will stand there instead of putting the prong around the neck and jerking on it. I will stand there. I will take the dog by the collar, and we're going to stand there and be calm. I want the dog to rationalize. You know what? It's not a big deal. The cars aren't a big deal. A calm state, they're going to learn that a calm state is going to be much more appreciated than being an idiot. That's the reality. When a dog turns around and understands that, you know what, being with me in a calm state is a whole lot better than standing over there growling at the world, being afraid of anything. A calm state is the default state for every animal on the planet.
You do realize that by grabbing your dog's collar and holding them there, you're using punishment.
In a way.
No, you just are. You are using punishment. You're punishing your dog.
Yeah, because the positive reinforcement that he wants is to go out and attack things. I don't want that.
Yeah, and you're using negative punishment to prevent him from.
It's not negative punishment.
The thing that he wants.
I'm applying negative reinforcement. It's not negative punishment. It's not positive punishment.
No. That is a very good example of negative punishment. And
again,
for many dogs would definitely not be super effective at all, but that is an example of negative punishment.
It's been effective with every client.
Well, I'd like to see video evidence of that, and I tried to get you to send me some videos of some dogs that you've trained, and
I don't train dogs. That's the problem.
You've sent.
You keep calling me a dog trainer,
right? Some videos of a dog that you've used your behaviorist magic with. You really haven't sent any videos of compelling in any way that shows that you actually deal with dogs that have real problem behavior successfully.
The thing of it is, you're going into it assuming that the dog is aggressive. I'm not. There's no such thing as an aggressive dog. We need to do a diagnosis.
This is semantics.
It's not semantics.
You can call it whatever you want. The dog is displaying an undesirable behavior towards humans.
It's a natural behavior.
Find out what the cause of that behavior is. If you want to call it aggression, that's fine. If I used to think, okay, let's see what really is aggression, but it's absolutely pointless to say, okay,
what is
aggression? This is aggression. This is reactivity. It's
It's a fight or flight
semantics.
response.
Not
It's a fight or
important.
flight
You really need
response.
to know what the cause is of it, and that's it. And no, it's not always so the fight, flight, or freeze response that you're referring to is a response that's caused by an aversive stimulus or the prediction of an aversive stimulus, let's say.
It's a negative reinforcement in the environment.
Not in all cases is a dog behaving in an aggressive manner, or if you don't like the word aggressive, then not in all cases where a dog tries to say bark, bite, or display some other undesirable behavior towards humans. Is it because of the dog being afraid of humans? That's not always the reason.
No, it's not always the reason, but not.
That is, but
I will tell you right now, 95% of it is. You've seen the video of Freddy. Everybody assumed that Freddy was aggressive. Dog trainers would not come out and meet Freddy. They assumed he was aggressive. And you're approaching the dog. You're going into the backyard in a bite suit. You're actually treating the dog as aggressive. I'm telling you point blank. Stop and listen. You're asking me to explain what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I am not walking in with the premise that the dog is aggressive. Now, again, with Freddy, he's showing barrier aggression at the gate. But once I remove that barrier, guess what? The aggression is not aggression. It's all a bluff. That's all the dog knows to do. The dog feels safe and secure, barking and raging behind the fence. But once I get rid of that, barrier, guess what? Now the dog is running away. The dog is showing me the real dog. They're afraid. That's the reality. But trainers never see that because they always approach the dog and they treat it like it's aggressive. I don't. I don't believe that it's an aggressive dog. It's not a diagnosis. Reactivity is not a diagnosis. There's something causing the aggression and reactivity. And where there's a cause, it means aggression and the reactivity are nothing more than symptoms. They're the outcome of a problem. But yet trainers are focused on symptoms, shutting down symptoms. What is causing it? And this is even Cesar Millan. Cesar Millan will tell you the same thing, that aggression is the outcome of a problem. It's a symptom. And where there's a symptom, it is the effect. And shutting down the effect, any dog trainer out there right now that's telling people to suppress aggression, that's downright dangerous and stupid. But it's happening.
I completely disagree.
Why?
I completely disagree. I think sometimes, I think in many cases, punishment is a very good option.
No, it's not.
To be incorporated into a training plan for dogs that suffer from that have some kind of aggressive reactions or some undesirable behavior towards humans. Punishment is in many cases a really good component of a training plan.
But Skinner himself openly opposed punishment, but yet you keep blaming him for the punishment quadrants.
And Skinner did. That's absolutely right. But he was.
So where did the punishment quadrants come from?
Ideological reasons. He was doing that for his own personal ideology.
It's not ideology. He did these.
Facts.
He proved this in a lab. Skinner was a lab rat. Skinner was a lab rat. He did experiments on animals in a lab, on pigeons, dogs, and rats to understand human behavior. The cause of your behavior is no different from the dog, the pigeon, or the rat. So replace your dog with a human kid. Replace your dog with a human child. Would you put a prong collar around a human child's neck and start stringing them up with a neck? Would you start shocking the child? Would you start shoving food in the face of a scared child? If you wouldn't do it to a child, you don't do it to a dog. And that's my attitude. If I wouldn't do something to a human child, I'm not going to do it to a dog. Why? Because the cause of the child's behavior is no different from the cause of the dog's. That's the reality. Our anatomy is very similar. Our physiology is very similar. Our brains are very similar. This is all Dr. Greg Burns. Dr. Greg Burns heads up the Dog Project, where he's actually scanning dogs' brains live and in color in MRI while the owners interact. And he's proven that he's doing the same thing. He's proven the same thing. Dogs' brains are no different from ours. They're very, very similar. They've got the same emotions.
Yeah, they are, in fact, in some ways, very different.
In what ways?
In many ways, they're absolutely the same. Well, one example is that dogs can't think abstractly about things.
Why not?
They just can't.
Well, let me ask you this question: Can dogs generalize?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, because a lot of trainers say that dogs can't generalize.
I don't know any good dog trainer that will say that a dog
Well,
can't
you keep
generalize.
you keep saying good dog trainer. I'm telling you right now, there's no such thing as a good dog trainer working on behavior. Because anybody now, let's get back to the aggression and suppression of aggression. Okay, because that's a very key important point. Let's say a dog is in pain. Let's say a dog has low-grade pancreatitis, and it's quite common today because of dog food. Dogs don't produce amylase in their saliva. They can't break down starches into simple sugars to digest it. Their pancreas can produce small amounts of amylase, but not enough to feed, not enough to take care of the dog food and the starches and the carbs that they're taking in from dog food. So dogs, a lot of dogs today are in the low-grade state of pancreatitis, and that's painful. I've had pancreatitis myself. This is why, number one, I always tell dog owners to put your dog on a raw diet. It's a biologically appropriate diet because dogs have no need for carbs, starches, and sugars. If they did, my dogs wouldn't have survived the last 25 years. I've been raw feeding for the last 25 years. They have no metabolic need for it. Now, if a dog is in low-grade pancreatitis, they're going to be suffering pain. And if the behaviors as a result of that are being shut down and suppressed, if you don't address the cause, and I see it all the time, where a dog starts off with one bad behavior and that bad behavior becomes worse and worse and worse. Because why? Because the cause is never addressed. And if you don't address the cause, the effect starts growing heads. The cause will express itself at some point, and it will keep expressing itself until you address the cause. That's the reality. Once you fix the cause, the behaviors disappear. Once you understand the cause and address the emotion that's causing the behavior itself goes extinct. But yet we got trainers out there saying that reactivity and aggression is for the life of the dog, and it can take months and months and months. No. Once you understand and address the emotion, why the dog is afraid, why the dog is angry, once you address that, guess what? The behaviors as a result of those emotions go away. That's called behaviorism.
Yeah, well, it certainly sounds good in theory what you're saying.
It's in practice, my friend. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I work with a lot of dogs.
It would be very good if you actually provided some video documented evidence of this.
I'll give you a couple. So you look at Cooper.
I mean, I can send those to any...
And they won't understand it.
Any good dog trainer.
I don't care about dog trainers.
They will, okay.
I am not a dog trainer. That's the whole thing. You will never, you'll never see me use a treat, a prong collar, or eating collar. Period. End of sentence. Because they are not necessary. If I can work with dogs without all these tools and treats, why can't you? Why can't other dog trainers?
Please show it. Show yourself demonstrating some high level of obedience.
I don't do obedience. Obedience. Obedience is IGP dog training. IGP dog training is a sport of obedience, tracking, and protection. When you're teaching obedience, you're trying to apply IGP dog training and the quadrants of dog training under Conrad Most.
That's not the case at all. There's many different dog sports. IGP is not the only dog sport in the world, and all of them involve some element of obedience. So you're just making a really argument for yourself. But obedience is a necessary part of a dog's life. They need to have some functional obedience.
Not for me. They learn to be obedient.
So you've got dogs that are out of control. Just
this is where they're not out of control. This is where the assumptions come in. Okay, Monty will sit on me by default.
Recall, for example.
I don't teach recall. My dog doesn't run away from me. My dog wants to be with me.
Okay, so
why?
For example, your dog's chasing the squirrels, as you said that your dog chases squirrels.
Yeah, when we're in the dog park.
When you're in the dog park.
That's his time and place to do it.
And if all of a sudden you needed to recall him back, I'm guessing
I don't need to. Back. Oh yeah, he will.
Okay.
I actually got a video. It's on my channel.
Really good.
I don't train recall. You see, right. I look at dog owners right now. Your dog doesn't want to be with you, and they're out there shocking the dog to try to get it to recall. When you're using,
it's not that the dog doesn't necessarily want to be with you. I'm not going to teach a recall to a dog, and I'm certainly not going to use. I'm generally not going. I'm really not going to teach a recall to a dog unless I have that foundation for learning already in place. Unless the dog actually likes me, then they've got some rapport. They trust me. They've got motivation to do things with me.
Okay, so let me ask you another
I'm
question
going
then.
to do that until I teach the recall. But just because you use an aversive, let's say, to reinforce the recall, you use some negative reinforcement. This doesn't mean that, oh, the reason why your recall is bad and you needed to use the aversive in the first place is because you've got this really bad relationship with your dog. No, it's there's competing reinforcers, and
Yeah, so
you've
why?
got to find
Let me ask you a question. Why is something in the environment more important than you are? Because I am the main positive reinforcement in my dog's life.
Yeah, okay, so
I'm going to send you a video. Okay? I'm going to send you a video.
Barking. That's all I can hear. I can hear some dogs barking.
Yep.
And
just give me 1 second. I'm going to send you one video here. Okay? Crap. I don't know how to post video because I can't get the. I'm going to show you my dog recalling. I'm going to give you a video, and I'm going to show you my dog recalling.
Yeah,
okay?
I'll certainly watch it, but I haven't got too much time left.
Damn it! Actually, you know what? I'll send it to you after the fact. For some reason, my laptop is screwed up.
Just send it to me after the fact. Yeah. So,
why is something in the environment more important than you are? But you see, when people start using treats, when people try to use treats to train a dog, you're giving the dog two choices: come to have a treat or be out in the environment. Where does the owner come into play? Because you've taken the owner right out of the game.
You know, with my own dogs, it's really, there's nothing more important to me, to them, than say to play with me. This is what's their most important part of their life, and they'll do, at least my Malinois, he'll really do anything to get the opportunity to play with me, and that's good for him. But that's, you know, there's you've got to be able to deal with competing reinforcers, and
no, you work with competing
like when you give the recall command, it's got to be somewhat, you know. Again, you can teach a really strong recall using only positive reinforcement. I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
And again,
I have positive done so myself, but
positive reinforcement is not something you use. It's not something you apply. Operant conditioning is not something you use. It's not something you apply. You can apply negative reinforcement, but the problem is that's called punishment. You do not apply positive reinforcement. It's not a tool. It's not something to pull out of a bag. That's the problem.
You can apply negative reinforcement, but that's called punishment.
Yes. The application of negative reinforcement.
Break that down for me, if you could. Explain how negative reinforcement is punishment.
Well, let's look at it this way. Let's bring up a portion from Walden 2, okay? Just 1 second. Because Walden 2 was, again, Skinner's response to his detractors. Just give me 1 second here. Copy. All right, this paragraph right here. I gotta wait till the full screen goes ahead. I shall have to be technical, and this again is a work of fiction, but there's a whole lot of science in Walden 2. And again, he wrote this book for his detractors to explain what positive reinforcement-based society will be. I shall have to be technical, but only for a moment. It's what science behavior calls reinforcement theory. The things that can happen to us fall in three classes. To some things we are indifferent. That's called socialization. You're making it not a big deal. Other things we like, and we like them, want them to happen, so we take steps to make them to happen again. That's positive consequences. That's your positive reinforcements. And still, there are things that we don't like, and we don't want to happen, and we take steps to get rid of them, to keep it from happening again. And how do you do that? That's called fight and flight. You're going to remove that thing, or you're going to remove yourself from it. That's the reality. This is all B.S. Skinner. There's only three things When you're in the face of a negative reinforcement, something that you deem negative in the environment, there's only three choices that you have. And it's the same for the dog. You can either fight, flight, or become indifferent. And indifference takes rationalization. And the problem is, what trainers have people doing, instead of letting the dog rationalize, they got dog owners stepping in front of the dog, between the dog and the thing that's in the environment that's actually punishing them, because negative reinforcement in the environment that they're actually reacting to is actually punishing the dog. The negative reinforcement is generating the behaviors of fight and flight. Now, what trainers have people doing is stepping in front of the dog and stepping in front of that negative reinforcement, and they're telling dog owners to reward and punish the dog when they don't understand what the negative reinforcement is in the first place. So what you're doing in reality is creating a small world of reward and punishment for the dog to operate condition himself to. And if you did that to a kid, you screwed him up for life. That's the reality.
I don't think I even really understand what you just said there.
When something is in the environment, when your dog is reacting to something in the environment, that's something in the environment is something that the dog deems negative. Do you understand that? That's called negative reinforcement. It's a natural negative reinforcement. So if a dog is scared of people and there's a person 20 feet away and the dog starts to bark and rage, that's positive reinforcement. That's the dog's positive reinforcement. The negative thing in the environment is taking away the dog's positive reinforcement. And positive reinforcement flips to fight and flight. Okay? Now,
well, that would be an example of negative reinforcement, but
that's the problem. Nobody understands this stuff. Negative reinforcements are natural to the environment.
That's an example of negative reinforcement, what you just described there.
Well, let's look at it this way.
Whereby the dog barking, the person that they don't want to be there moves away. That's an example of...
They're trying to drive the dog.
Reinforcement.
They're trying to drive it away.
Reinforcement.
You fight to drive it away, or you react to remove yourself from it. That's the reality. So if you're scared of spiders and you see a spider, that spider is a negative reinforcement that's going to generate your behaviors to fight and flight. Okay? That's the reality. That's how it works. It's negative reinforcement that generates behaviors. Punishment attempts to remove that behavior from your repertoire. And what you're trying to do is shut down natural behaviors, but you're calling them undesirable behaviors. And again, we got to get into abnormal versus normal behaviors. Normal behaviors are a response to something in the environment. They're hormone driven. They're your body's, your limbic system's reaction to something in the environment. What you're trying to train, what dog trainers are supposed to train, is abnormal behaviors. I've never seen a dog look at a set of agility poles and say, hey, I'm going to weave through those. That's an abnormal behavior that needs to be trained. But you're trying to lump all behaviors into the same boat, and you're trying to shut down behaviors that are natural behaviors to a dog. That's the reality.
I really don't know how beneficial this conversation is at this point. You know, it's,
welcome to my problem. What I'm dealing with right now is psychology. I am not training dogs. You will never see me training dogs. That's the reality. I work with behavior. Dog trainers should not be working with behaviors, period, because you don't understand what a behavior is. That's the reality. IGP dog training is everything based in dog training today. The entire system of dog training as we know it, including behavior, is all IGP based. It's all Conrad Most training dogs. Even Learberg admits this, that the entire system of dog training is based on Conrad Most, not B.F. Skinner. But yet we got the entire system of dog training blaming B.F. Skinner. Why? And even you, I'm telling you point blank, you know, you're admitting that Skinner openly opposed punishment, but yet you're telling everybody that he created the punishment quadrants. That to me is ridiculous. Positive and negative, yes, and you can't even define positive or negative. You can't define positive or negative reinforcement. Punishment doesn't exist in the quadrants. Primary compulsive inducements in Conrad Most book, that's your right. And he even mentioned the spike collar in that book. That's the prong collar. That's your primary compulsive inducements. You're trying to force the dog to do something. You're trying to forcefully induce the dog. When you're using inducements, primary inducements, that's your treat. You're trying to bribe the dog. You're trying to manipulate the dog. And when dog owners are doing, or dog trainers right now are putting dog owners right into a transactional relationship of reward and punishment. That's not man's best friend, but as a result, number one thing I hear, I don't trust my dog. And if you can't trust, you cannot respect or be confident in that which you don't trust. You cannot fucking trust or be confident in that which you don't respect. That's man's best friend. What does it mean to be a human best friend? You trust a person, you respect a person, you're confident around a person, you know they got your back. You know they're not going to put you in harm's way. That's man's best friend as well. That's supposed to be the dog, and that's what my dog is. And that's what I generate for owners. So when people come into my group, they're asked a certain list of questions. And the first question is, what do you want from your dog? It's your dog, not mine. It's not on me to dictate the outcome of your dog, but yet trainers are out there telling people this is what you need to do. You need to train your dog to do this. You need to train your dog for that. It's not my goal to tell people what to do with their dog. Number one response. I've asked that question to thousands of owners over the last 15 years. You know what I haven't heard? I've never gotten the response, I want a well-trained dog. You know what number one response is? I just want a calm dog. Dog owners don't even give a shit if their dog can sit. They don't care about obedience. They just want a calm dog they can take anywhere. They want man's best friend. But dog trainers are breaking that, and they're putting dog owners into a transactional relationship. And that's exactly what's happening today because of feminism. Human beings, you got Gen Y, Gen Z, they're all in transactional relationships. It's trade and barter. I can buy you a meal, but you got to give something in return. You got to give me a little something in return. This is transactional relationships. This is toxic relationships. That's the reality. It's a trauma bonded relationship. That's the reality. That's psychology.
Yeah. Well, I think I've done quite a good job of trying to remain as respectful as I can in this conversation, but
there's a lot you don't understand, my friend.
You really need to.
After watching this show for the last 15 years,
you know, I would be so much more open to the ideas that you're expressing here if there was actual proof of you doing this, with doing whatever it is you do.
The problem is you can't
many different dogs, and
you can't look past the idea of dog training. I'm not training dogs. I do not train dogs. I've never trained a dog in my life. I don't use treats. I don't use tools.
Talking points, and you've talked for a while. It's the same talking points over again. I think you've repeated the same thing maybe 10 times throughout this same conversation, and
it's all the same.
It's absolutely not useful at all.
Well, that's your opinion, but I'm telling you right now, the group. You show me any other group on Facebook that has all the success rates we have because dog owners in there.
Show the success rates.
You know what? Come back to the group. I'll unban you from the group. You've already been in there.
Oh, I didn't even know I was banned from the group. I thought I left the group.
Well, you made a post on your page. You made a post on your page where you actually stated something that I made in the group, and you had dog trainers rolling in the aisles because I said that Robert Cabral wouldn't dare out of my name. Remember that? I will unban you. I will let you back in the group. But you got to promise me one thing. You do not push dog training in that group or I will ban you right away. When you get back into the group.
I really don't want to be a part of your group.
If you want to understand,
I'm not that.
You can sit down. You can come into the group and talk to dog owners themselves. Every dog owner in there that has success has stopped dog training and they switched over to psychology. That's the only way. And if you go talk to Pete Reeford or Rosie Scansels, Pete Reeford is now working with dogs. He owns 2 Tibetan Mastiffs, littermates, and they're running around dog parks, and people can't understand why. It's all due to psychology.
You know, it's all good, the talk, but really what you need to do now is to prove it. Put the videos out on YouTube.
The group proves it.
No, not the group. And I remember.
But the thing of it is,
I remember the group, and I never remember seeing anything super impressive in any of it. But you know, post it on YouTube. Post some of your results on YouTube, and people will start respecting you big time. Instead of all these constant videos that you put out. And you know, I really want to be as respectful as I can here. You know, I don't like to turn things into an argument or anything like this, but you know, the videos that you put out on YouTube, they are all you going after other dog trainers.
Because I'm giving the science behind what they're doing.
No, you're not. You're just trying to. You're really just going after other dog trainers, not showing any of what you do, and you think that that's. You know, you're really just piggybacking off of a lot of their names, and it's not right. You need to actually show what it is that you do, and I'll switch over in an instance. If I see you doing something better, I'm going to change.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's take me out of the equation, and I'm going to put you on to Pete Reeford. Okay?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of stuff on his channel. He's actually showing it. He actually uses his Tibetan Mastiffs as mentors to train dogs, to work with dogs. He brings his dogs just like I bring Monty, because the dogs that he's working with don't even know how to be a dog. They've never been around dogs to learn from, and I can't teach a dog to be a dog. Neither can you. So I'll give you a Pete Reefer's channel. And you can actually watch him. He brings his Tibetan masters with him to work with dogs because his dogs can actually teach dogs to be dogs. Pete understands that he can't either. As a human being, we cannot teach dogs to be dogs, but dogs can. So I'll send you Pete Reefer's channel, and you can actually go through all of his stuff. You can see his dogs chasing around the dog park, getting out and having fun. I can give you everything that you need.
Look, if you just show me one video, one before and after video of a dog with a serious problem behavior, like go on, if you go on my YouTube channel, and I don't have nearly enough before and after videos. I've got a few that I need to upload, but it's not really what I'm focusing on as much at the moment. But if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll see a number of different dogs, a few with some very, very serious problem behaviors.
Actually, you know what? Can you hold that thought for 1 second?
No longer having any problems.
Can you hold that thought for a second? I got to hit the bathroom really quick.
Certainly.
Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, you see, where the division is that you're going in with the premise that the dog is actually aggressive. I am not. I don't care about behaviors. That's the reality. Because, again, I can see the same behaviors of fight and flight from any animal, from humans or dogs or cats or rats or whatever have you.
For the rest of us, we really do, and dog owners do as well. If, like I say, if you can show a single video of you dealing with a dog that's got a serious problem behavior.
You've seen the video of Freddie. Would you call that serious behaviors?
The videos that you sent me, I did not consider serious behaviors at all.
You said yourself you wouldn't enter the backyard with Freddie. I did.
I wouldn't enter the backyard without protective gear. No.
Why not?
And I wouldn't do that with any dog.
Why?
Because it's stupid.
It's not stupid. I understand dogs. I understand the animal that I am. Stupid.
You even admitted in the messages yourself that you got bitten by the dog.
That was my own fault.
Stupid.
Because
you don't just go into another.
Would you like to know why?
Into a dog's back garden.
Would you like to understand why? I had Freddie on a leash. I was getting impatient, and I actually reached over and petted him on the head. I actually did the stupidest thing in the world. I invaded the dog's space, and I was actually petting him on the fucking head. That's why he bit me.
Okay, and you wouldn't have
been bitten. It was my own fault.
And you certainly wouldn't have been bitten if you were wearing a bite suit. So there's your... well, you would have been bitten.
Actually, you can actually see the scar right here. This is where he got me on both sides of the wrist.
Well, I'm glad that seems impressive to you, but
getting bitten doesn't bother me.
It really doesn't impress me at all.
I'm not looking to impress you.
Safety is going to determine what you can do with a dog, and
yes, and the only
I could certainly send you to a lot of back gardens with some other dogs where you entering their back garden in the way that you were in the videos that you sent me wouldn't have ended quite so well as it did with the with the two dogs that you sent me.
I even offered the same challenge to Dog Daddy. Dog Daddy's got what, a few million followers. When he was in that doing all this back and forth, he actually offered Zach George $50,000 to work for an aggressive dog. I actually stepped up and said, you know what? You keep the money. You find me a dog in Edmonton because I'm sure you got followers here. I don't need to know the breed. I don't need to know the problems. I don't need to know anything. You find me a dog that you would gladly string up by the neck, and I'm going to go into the backyard live. We're going to put up cameras live, and I'm going to prove you wrong live on camera. Okay? He wouldn't respond to me, but I got a like on my page, and I will take that challenge from anybody. Even in my state right now, I'm 130 pounds. If you can find me a dog in Edmonton, Alberta, I don't care what the breed is. I don't care if it's pit bull. I don't care what it is. I'm going to meet the dog the same way as I always do, because I'm not going in with the premise based that a dog is aggressive, because there's no such thing. There's no such thing as an aggressive
that's
dog.
really great, but I know many dogs that would really prove that hypothesis wrong. It's
I will take that challenge.
you know, yeah. I don't think that there's much more we can really go over. Like I say, prove what you do. Show some proof of what you do. Deal with at least one single dog that's actually got a serious problem behavior. Document it clearly. You don't even have to show the training process. Just show
It's
the
not
before
training.
and people are going to really respect you.
I'll tell you what.
What
I'm
you're
at a
doing
game,
at the
so again, I'm
moment,
going to put you on to Pete Reeford.
To what?
I'm at a game right now. I'm going to put you on to Pete Reeford, and you can see his videos.
Absolutely.
He's got a whole channel out there.
Look, anyone who deals with dogs that have serious problem behaviors, they solve them, and the dog looks good. They look happy. They're not reliant on some training tool. Anyone that can do that immediately gets my respect, no matter who they are.
So, give me one name trainer that you respect.
I don't want to name trainers on this podcast.
Larry Crone, I assume.
Yeah, Larry's a good trainer, but again, he's a really good trainer. But again, I don't really want to name trainers on this podcast. Then not here to speak for themselves, and bringing people's names up into things when into something public like this is not good. So,
well,
there's many trainers that I respect. And really, if you you can have a look at my Facebook page for trainers that I've trained with and learned from, and you can see all of the ones that
there's trainers. There's trainers that I do respect too. Okay, there's some great trainers out there, but they know to keep their nose out of the behavior ring. That's what I respect. Okay, but anyway, again, if you want to, we've been on this for what, hour and a half now?
Yeah, it's getting late. We've gone through a few things, and
what time is it there now?
I say it's good that we're staying. It's 9:10.
Okay.
So it's getting late. I've got to get the dogs out and do some dog training.
Yeah, and I got to get my dog for a walk too.
But yeah, what I would say is criticizing other trainers that have got a good reputation is not the way forward for anyone. No one should be just going out there and fair enough. You can do that all you like, and I don't think there's any problem with you doing that if you can also show that you actually do achieve real, amazing, fantastic results. Then you go out and you start going with your 100 or so videos that you've got criticizing every popular dog trainer there is. Then you do that once you can show that actually I really can train dogs. And even then, what is there to be gained from you coming after people? And
I don't train dogs. Again.
Okay, but show the results that you achieve with dogs. The
results. The results.
I don't train dogs.
The results are what the owner wants, and the dog is running around the dog park off leash. I work for the owner. I ask the owner, "What do you want? How can I help you? I am here for you. You are paying me to do your bidding." And you know what?
So show a video.
Dogs and dog parks.
Show a video of a dog that's got some serious problem with having some serious aggression towards other dogs, and then show a video of the dog socializing with other dogs, and that will immediately gain you a lot of respect. But so far, it's all bark and no bite.
Well, like I said, you wouldn't go into the backyard with Freddy without a bite suit on. I understand the animal that I am. And dogs respect, when you understand the animal that you are, dogs immediately respect that. They see it. And that's exactly what Skinner's saying. Human beings are nothing more than animals. We are no different behaviorally from the dog, the pigeon, or the rat. And I'm sorry if you can't understand that. But that is reality. When I go into a dog's backyard, I'm asking myself one question. What would it take to put the animal that I am into the state that dog is in? That's the reality. Okay? But anyways, let me ask you one question before we go, and you don't need to answer it. It's just a question, just something to think about. How do you define success? All right.
How do I define success?
I'm not asking for an answer. It's just something you got to chew on.
I can happily give you an answer. It's meeting your objective.
Okay, what is your objective?
It depends on what you're doing.
If your
objective is to grab this cup on the table, then when I grab it, that's success in that objective.
What is your objective? Do you take dogs to dog parks?
No, I'm not a big believer in taking dogs to dog parks. No.
Do you ever ask the owners what they want? That's the big question.
Absolutely, that's my main concern, is asking dog owners exactly what they want. And
well, the number one response for me is go to a dog park. That's how I define success. When that dog is off leash in the dog park, that to me is success, and I'm finished.
And that's absolutely okay. I don't normally recommend people go to dog parks for various reasons. One is that they're very dangerous.
Not around here. I've had Monty 8 years. He's never had a problem. He's never been attacked. He's never been dangerous.
That's certainly good for you, but in a lot of other places, it's not the same way. So
well. And as a result of dog training, because people are trying to train your dogs to behave, and you can't train a dog to behave. That's the reality. That's my whole point.
Because I say I don't necessarily believe in taking dogs to dog parks, doesn't mean that I don't believe in socializing dogs with each other. I think that's a really important part of a dog's life.
Socialization is not about dogs. Socialization is about being indifferent in the environment. Nothing is a big deal. When you have a heavily socialized dog, nothing is a big deal.
No, that's not what socialization is. What you're describing there is habituation.
Fight, flight, or become indifference. The indifference is part of socialization. Once you become indifferent to spiders, if you're scared of spiders, once you become indifferent to spiders, you become socialized to spiders.
So socialization is socializing.
Yeah.
The key is in the name, socializing. Not being indifferent, not being neutral.
And what does it take to be social? What does it take to be social? A state of calm.
No, not necessarily at all.
Yes, it is. When you're angry and aggressive, do you think you're social? Anyways,
when I go to the judo club, let's say, and I go and train judo, I'm certainly not calm. Like a monk sitting on a.
Are you angry and reactive?
No, I'm not. No, but I'm not.
You're indifferent.
I'm not indifferent.
Yeah, you are. It's not a big deal.
All right.
Anyway,
it was good to do this, and thank you for getting in touch. And like I say, I'll speak to. Well, it wasn't me that had you. You had me on your podcast, but. I say I'll speak to anyone, and if you've got something to share, if there's any benefit in what someone's doing, then I want to know it. But until you prove it, there's.
Well, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to put you on to Pete Reeford.
As soon as if I see any proof, that's it. I'm all of a sudden now I'll go straight down to wherever you are and learn from you, but. I'd like to see that proof.
Okay.
All right.
I'll get you all the proof that you want.
Well,
anyways, I got to get a bite to eat and come on to you for a walk.
All right.
All right. You have a good night. Thanks for the talk.
Yeah, you too. Bye now.
Okay. Have a good night.